Kamen Rider Evol.
Hey YouTube, Kamen Rider here with my review of Kamen Rider Build, episode 33 I think it was. This was a good episode. This was a very good episode. It kind of laid out some things that were pretty much already speculated on, but just sort of clarified them. Had some sort of biggish stuff with Rogue, which I'll get into in just a second, and it was the debut of Kamen Rider Evol, so that's like evil, E-V-O-L, not evil. Like, you know, that, I get that's the bit, I'm sure, is a pun off of that. But yeah, so a big week, and it was pretty solid. I wouldn't say it was like earth-shattering, just because there wasn't anything like, you know, super shocking or, well, to some people, maybe, but, or, you know, plot-wise. But let's talk about the Rogue stuff first, because I feel like that was actually the least interesting to me. So, last week he kidnapped his dad, and basically he was holding him ransom for Stalk's plan to get the Evol driver, which we're gonna get to that in a second. I mainly want to talk about Gentoku for now. But then, like, Gentoku ends up freeing him, and then his dad ends up getting shot, like, by jumping in front of it for him later. I didn't really care about that. Like, I wasn't like, oh no, a major character, because I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I just don't really care about his character. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, oh my god, I'm so emotional. I'm like, really? That guy's like a random reoccurring boss character. Like, I was gonna say it'd be like if David Wallace got shot, but I'd probably be more upset about that. But, yeah, like, and Gentoku's a weird character. I feel like I have a handle on him, but also I don't. Not in a weird way. But I mean, like during when he was rescuing him, Stalk mentioned like, oh, you used to be affected by the proximity of the stuff, so you were super extra driven, but now we've sort of fixed you via our own experiments, or something like. The dialogue, I should probably go back and reread the subs, because it was really confusing to me. And it just made me realize, like, I kind of have always gotten his motivations, but also I don't. But the motivations that I don't understand, I don't really care enough to find out about. Like, it's weird, like, because I like the actor, and I like elements of his character. I like both Night Rogue and Rogue suits, but I just don't really care to get what I don't understand about his character. Like, I guess he wants to rule, and it's like a complicated relationship with his dad. I just don't think it's as well fleshed out. Like, with Ryuga and Sento, I feel like they've done a really good job of getting me to understand where they're coming from. Even like with Ryuga right now, there's this big question mark floating over his head right now with exactly how the alien stuff is tied to him. But even, I still, like, I understand his character. I understand Misara's character. I even understand Sawa's character on her two little betrayals. But with Gentoku, I don't know. I just don't. It just seems kind of muddled, if I'm being honest. Maybe it's just me, and sort of like where I put my focus and paying attention to which narratives, but it doesn't feel like as interesting a story as it could. I'm just not sure about it. So I really wasn't as into all that in this episode. It's kind of like Grease too. Grease, though, I understand his character. I just don't care for some reason. I don't know. It's just selective. But yeah. So there was stuff with that. But the main stuff I found interesting in the episode was the stuff about the Evol driver. So basically, they're like, yo, we got President Dad. We'll give him back if you give us the Evol driver. And at first they're like, it was originally created by your dad. That was the subset or something like that. And that's what the build driver's based off. I'm like, oh my god, really? Now Sento didn't even invent the build stuff. It was his dad. I hate the, oh, I found out my parents are special storylines. But then it ended up being that the Evol driver was actually, it used to be Evol's, and it broke, and his dad helped him repair it. So, and then we got the, like, official confirmation that the what's inside Stalk is Evol, which is, we knew it pretty much, because the Kamen Rider's name is going to be Evol, but I wasn't exactly sure, you know, how, because we still don't know how Ryuga's tied to Evol specifically, and I wasn't sure if maybe he was Evol, and then that essence was going to, I don't know, I thought that, you never know, my point is, sometimes there's twists and turns, but it was pretty sure that he was Evol. So he was Evol. You know, they confirmed, oh, he's Pandora's box, got possessed, and he tried to basically do the same thing to Mars, but it ended up backfiring and not fully working and just created the Skywall. So all this stuff you can sort of piece together. They literally just said it in this episode. But so I'm kind of like one of those like of two minds arguments with myself on a lot of these, because I mentioned how I do kind of hate that they just made it so easy. Of like, oh, his dad was just mind controlled, so now like by the end of the series we conceivably could just get goofy dad guy again, and it's like nothing happened. But I still think if they play this up, which I'm worried they won't, that it's still interesting that Evol basically, you know, he still owned that storyline of infiltrating Team Build and using them to his own ends, and then inadvertently wound up forming some sort of a bond with them. They haven't really explored that a lot since, you know, he left the team, and outside of a few notes of passing dialogue. So I kind of hope that comes back in a way, not like in a, oh, I'm a changed man or I give up now, but it's what makes it interesting. Like, it very much makes him even more so like Reverse Flash from Flash Season 1 when he's impersonating Wells, because I think that's interesting when this villain has this clear plan, but then he needs to use the heroes, and it complicates it by the fact that he actually forms a relationship. That's one of the things I found most interesting with him. Of course, there's other stuff, like he's just super smart about everything. He's always like 3 steps ahead, and like always 3 steps ahead. You don't even know what game we're playing yet, and like just the way he carries himself has always been a lot of fun. So there's lots of reasons I like him, and I still like the villain character. It's just, I thought part of that was a little too easy. I would have liked a more complicated relationship, like a symbiotic relationship or something. But even without that, I just hope that they play up the sort of connection he formed with them more, because I think that makes it more interesting than rather just a muhaha, I'm going to destroy the world villain. Speaking of, is that just his plan? That seems to be just his plan. Like, he just wants to destroy Mars, or he did. Or destroy it, like, why? Because I thought, honestly, I thought the whole Pandora's box creating stuff was his plan. Like, he'd rule it by creating structures and basically destroying everything, but rebuilding it. I don't know. Right now, like, it does just seem like his straight up plan is just to destroy everything. So I'm a little bit conflicted about that stuff, but I'm coming around to certain things because I think that some of the stuff that I thought was going to be, like, undone is still going to survive. So we'll see, though. I'm curious to see if they ever play up that connection element again, and also if he has more plans than just muhaha, I want to destroy Mars and Earth and Earth and Earth. But the other stuff is with the Evol driver. I'm kind of conflicted. Honestly, like when I first saw pictures and we started getting hints of it, I honestly assumed it was going to be something he built with like the help of Namba Industries as like the final evolution of the build systems, like after incorporating all this data and knowledge of the sorry, I said Austin Powers, of like, you know, all the other drivers. And like when he first called Sento up, he's like, I need you to find the Evol driver. I'm like, are you serious? There's another hidden file on that flash drive? But no, it turned out like, oh, it was with his dad, we fixed it, and it was actually behind like the bottle making thing. Now here's my question. I'm sure this part, 2 questions for you guys, you'll probably answer me because I'm stupid. This is me being stupid. Is why did he wait till now to want to get it? I know that he's been saying now's the time, but I think I just missed the dialogue where the reason was given why he's waited this long to want the Evol driver. So I'm curious, like, why now? And also, like, not only why didn't he try for it earlier, but back when he was, like, you know, basically undercover as Misora's dad, why didn't he look around? Maybe he did. Maybe we don't know. But it just seems weird. Like, he was for months undercover, and when they were out building and Misora was napping, he could have been looking for it. So I'm curious why wait, other than just plot reasons / toy debut reasons. But on one hand, I think that's kind of cool. It kind of really reinforces the whole, like, Rider's powers are somehow based / tied to the villain's powers. The fact that the build driver is, like, basically their version, or riff on, or, you know, inspired by the Evol driver. But on the other hand, I kind of liked, this is like one of the arguing things, I kind of liked that all the build system stuff was humanity's reaction to the Pandora's box power. I always hate to bring up Gaim, but because I'm going to do a comparison of him later, but I don't want to compare it every week. But that's something I liked about Gaim, was I loved that the Rider system was a uniquely human creation to the Helheim problem. Like, all these other civilizations had been taken over by Helheim, but humanity was the first one to make a Rider system. And as far as we know, Mars and Earth are the only ones that have faced Pandora's box, presumably others. But I like that the build systems were kind of their unique reaction, you know, in some ways, obviously manipulated by Stalk, but I always assumed that they sort of came up with it first and then Stalk sort of co-opted it. But on the other hand, it is still kind of cool that, like, the build stuff is all sort of inspired by this original system and still is humanity's reaction to it, just in a different way. But I think the ultimate nitpick, I would have rather have been sort of a Rider-esque system where it wasn't a full Rider system, like some sort of transformation, and then his dad, either one of 2 ways I would have taken it. His dad fixed it and turned it into a Rider system, or after observing what, like, all these all the humans did with the build and the grease and the rogue systems and stuff. Then Evil transformed his old transformation system into a rider system, being like, oh look what humanity's created, this crazy combat system. I want to co-opt that and modify my original system. I think that would have been cool. Again, it's nitpicky, and we could learn more about the way it works. But again, you can see as I've been talking for the last 3 minutes, I like argue with myself in my head. I'm like, this is a handful of neat ideas, but I have a handful of nitpicks because it kind of pulls away some of the things that I already thought were neat, like I said. But still, I'm glad it just wasn't, oh yeah, I forgot there's another file on here called the Evil driver. And the suit's really cool. I like it. It looks super evil, and I like that it has like red and blue colors, kind of goes like to show that he's, you know, Build's opposite in a way, and I like the sounds of it, like the screaming and stuff. So it was a really cool debut. But yeah, so I feel like I went on a really long time about that, but I'm sorry. But overall, this was a solid episode. If you're really into the Gentoku stuff, there was some solid stuff with that. Really good stuff with the Evil debut with some clear answers to stuff we pretty much already knew, but it's always nice to have it said specifically so you're not left in limbo. And a good debut for Evil. I would give it an 8.5. I'm looking forward to getting more answers about things, because that's one thing that I'm always cautiously optimistic about it, them revealing stuff, but Build's been pretty good about paying stuff off, so some of the stuff I'm wondering about or wanting clarification on, I'm pretty confident and hopeful that we'll get answers. I don't even know where I was going with that. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Kamen Rider, signing out.